Star Wars: The Old Republic is a sci-fi tab-target MMORPG. It is one of the few sci-fi themed MMOs still currently available. It is set within the larger Star Wars universe, so it's only natural to have garnered an audience larger than most. At launch, The Old Republic was considered one of the fastest growing MMOs ever, reaching 1 million active subscribers within 3 days of its launch. While it has lost a significant portion of its player base since, it remains to date a very large, very engaging, narrative-driven, tab-target MMORPG with open worlds to explore larger than almost any of its competition. But just because people enjoyed The Old Republic in the past, doesn't mean that it's still enjoyable in 2024. It doesn't mean that currently it has any semblance of content cadence that would warrant playing. In all honesty, it might not even be receiving updates, which is where we come in today. I've played Star Wars: The Old Republic numerous times over the course of the last 8 years, and I've done as many videos on it as there are years that have passed since my first playthrough. And while I could definitely dive back in for another look, give my impressions, I think that'd be a waste of my time and yours. What I want to do instead is talk about what this game has done in the last year and where it's currently going, because it might not survive into 2025. More and more MMOs are shutting down year after year, and who knows which game is going to be next. Before we delve into Star Wars: The Old Republic, however, allow me to thank my incredible patrons over on Patreon. Your guys' support is why I can continue to make videos like this every single month, and I deeply appreciate you all being there for me. I wanted to get a gauge of how Star Wars: The Old Republic was doing in 2024 by looking at player numbers, engagement, the community. With this in mind, I went to social media to get a rough estimate of community size and activity. My first stop was Steam. It's worth noting that there were a significant number of positive reviews left, 60,908 in total, and that's totally warranted. Looking at Steam concurrency numbers, it looks as though there are 5,970 players active right now. There was a 6,158 player peak in the past 24 hours, and 34,210 player peak 4 years ago. These are very good numbers for any MMO, especially an MMO that is as old as The Old Republic is, and even better when you factor in the additional clients available. Many players likely log in and play the game via the official launcher that is completely separate from Steam. This alone is proof that the game is far from dead and is doing better than most other MMOs, and we've barely even started. Next, I proceeded to check Twitter to get a gauge of how frequently the team engages with their community. 302,000 followers is very large, and it seems as though their tweets get roughly 100 likes on average. This means there is still a fairly large number of players actively engaging within the community. Heading on over to Facebook, I see there are 2 million followers. Holy crap, that is actually one of the largest MMO pages I've seen today. Posts also average hundreds of likes and dozens of comments. Their Facebook is really a lot more active than I thought it'd be. My next stop was Reddit. See how many total members there are, how many people are actively present during peak hours. 235,000 members, all right, very nice. 177 players online during peak hours. It's also pretty damn good. Lots of threads made over the course of the last 24 hours, dozens of comments in a large number of the threads, and dozens, if not hundreds of likes per thread. Okay, everywhere I look, Star Wars: The Old Republic seems to be thriving in terms of activity and community engagement. But let's go ahead here and take a look at their website. See the content cadence, the events, the updates. A game with no updates is a game in maintenance mode after all. We're gonna go back a year, June 2023. June had 4 posts. Star Wars: The Old Republic Galactic Season Objectives, version 7.3 Old Wounds went live. There was a cash shop update and some in-game events. July had 3 posts, Star Wars: The Old Republic Galactic Season Objectives, the Harsh Shot on Nightlife event, and PvP Season 3 Reign of Glory. August had 3 posts, including in-game events, their server moved to the cloud, and version 7.3.1 announcement. September had 7 posts, the in-game events, and announcement of new outfits coming in version 7.3.1, Galactic Season 5 Confidence in Power version 7.3.1 went live, and there were more cash shop outfits. October saw 5 posts, including in-game events, Star Wars: The Old Republic Galactic Season Objectives, and the release of version 7.4 onto the PTR for players to test. In November, there were 5 posts, including in-game events, PvP Season 4 Fortune and Fame, Star Wars: The Old Republic Galactic Season Objectives, and the opening of a new server. In December, there were 5 posts, including in-game events, the release of version 7.4, new cash-up items, and Star Wars: The Old Republic Galactic Season objectives. At this point, we're halfway through, and every month seems to have quite a bit of activity, with 2 large patches releasing a few months apart. That is pretty damn good. In January 2024, there was a singular post that was made, which, after just discussing how every month prior to January was filled with content in some form, is kind of shocking to me. All there were some in-game events. November had 3 posts with in-game events and PvP Season 5 Pirates Plunder. March saw 6 posts, beginning with in-game events, Galactic Season 6 Building a Foundation. Version 7.4.1 went live. There were new cash-up items. Day-Night Companion missions debuted with version 7.4.1. And finally, there was a producer's letter for Q1 2024. April had 2 posts, in-game events and Star Wars: The Old Republic Galactic Seasons objectives. May had 9 posts, beginning with in-game events. Version 7.5 went and hit the PTR. May through June, Star Wars: The Old Republic Galactic Seasons objectives were open. PvP Season 6 Great Pirate Hunt took place. New Acolyte-inspired items were introduced. A Basilisk prototype venture was introduced. The Dantooine Spring Abundance Festival event started. And finally, version 7.5 launched. Honestly, I genuinely did not expect Star Wars: The Old Republic to have as much work done on it as there is. But I guess enough people play the game to really warrant that investment from the developers. This game gets more content than what seems to be any other free-to-play MMO on the market. Well done. It's no wonder so many people still actively play and actively enjoy this game. My wife being one of them. My wife absolutely adores the narrative, which changes based off of the choices that you make over the course of the story, the characters you meet, the characters you become involved with, the story itself. Every aspect of the game continues to evolve based off of every individual choice you make. Being able to meet characters that populate the Star Wars universe, being able to go to different worlds so you're not set on one very basic forest-looking world. Having what is arguably one of the greatest English dubs in the history of the MMO scene. If only the combat, and this is going to be a bit of a contentious opinion to have, but if only the combat were better. To me, the one drawback when it comes to playing this game is that its combat is very slow and feels very clunky in terms of it being a tab target MMO when you compare it to another MMO favorite of mine, World of Warcraft. Star Wars: The Old Republic is absolutely not what you expect in 2024. It somehow managed to remain active with frequent updates coming out regularly. Now, if Star Wars: The Old Republic is not an MMO that is of any interest to you, absolutely no problem. I got you covered with 2 different videos on screen right now that might be more up your alley.